What's going on, everybody? Back at it again for another episode of the SmackTalk podcast. As always, I'm here with Jonathan Weathers, Kevin Mesnick, as well as professional mixed martial artist Paul Capaldo. Paul, what's going on, brother?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Chilling, quarantining, trying to get back to our, normal phase, trying to get a job.
Yeah.
I've seen you've been working, Paul. How you been holding up in the quarantine? I know you're mixed martial artist fighter. I've seen on your Instagram kick the shit out of some guy, knocked him out. What is Paul Capaldo doing in quarantine to stay Paul Capaldo?
So I've been training a lot with Frankie Edgar. Him and he owns a gym, so I've been helping him train for Pedro Munoz. I've been his main sparring partner, and we've been scrapping every single day. So just literally right when the quarantine started, that's when we started training just every single day. Wrestling with the Rutgers wrestling team too. So we're so we've been grinding, and I've just been trying to get better. It sucks because I've been waiting. I've been ready to fight since my last one, so it sucks.
You're ready to knock the fucker out. They got to give you the chance, though.
Yeah, they do.
And I mean, I can imagine because you're on a nine fight win streak right now, including your amateur and your professional. So I mean, I can understand having that itch to want to get back in there.
Yeah, when I was an amateur, in Jersey, it's weird how the amateur system works. It's like if you're undefeated as an amateur, once I got to 4-0, and I couldn't find fights. I went 9 months without even 3-0. It was it was impossible, So people, because it's amateurs, so it's you don't feel like fighting that week. There's no money on the line, so you could not fight, pull out. Oh, my knees hurt, my back's hurt. So I'm kind of used to this, but I fought basically 4 times last year. I fought once in December, and then 3 times, or in 2019, I think 2018, and then 2019 I fought straight three fights. So it's just frustrating.
Did you have any fights canceled in between March and now that would have happened? Because it seems for me all you MMA guys, just nothing changed for you. I mean, Dana White created the Fight Island. I mean,
yeah.
You said you kept training in the gym. So, I mean, was anything canceled?
Yeah, I was going to fight in May. And with the whole coronavirus, first it was March and then it was May. And with the coronavirus, it just canceled everything. And even now, it's they're kind of on the fence with stuff because you don't know how bad it's going to get in a week, 2 weeks. Things could change quick.
Right. So
you posted
going back to, I'll let you go, Jake.
You got it, brother. You got it.
Oh, let me rock. Okay. So how'd you start off, brother? What was your original discipline? Because I know with mixed martial arts, for a lot of people, you kind of start off with one discipline, and the move to become really good, you actually have to pick up a couple others.
Yeah, so I started with wrestling. And I started wrestling in Jersey. It's considered late. I started wrestling in 7th grade. And from there, I went up to my cousin's house, and my cousin was a professional fighter at the time. And once I watched this fight, I said to myself, this is what I want to do. So right after that, I had my first amateur fight, had a couple more after that. Then I got into boxing. I've fought in the Golden Gloves, the Diamond Gloves. So I dabbled into that a little, and now I'm here. So a little bit of everything.
Okay.
So, Paul, the video you posted on your Instagram, is that from the fight with Bobby Malcolm back in 2018?
Yeah. The head kick one, right?
Just walk me through because, I've been in a couple street fights, but I'm going to be honest, I'm not really that flexible. I can't really kick a motherfucker in his head. How do you go and how did you aim it? How did you get that close and pray him into that?
It's crazy because MMA is all setups, especially at the higher levels.
Yes.
It's reads, so I'm programming him in the beginning of the fight. That's what I do with everyone. I program them. So I programmed him, and I just knew I knew where he was going to move. So I said, you know what? If I throw it and I miss, I'll be in good balance. But it landed clean on him. It's just from different shots that I landed in the fight. You could kind of set guys up a little, and even in my last fight, I head kicked the guy pretty bad, and it dropped him. And so
was he kind of hanging his hands low?
Yeah, Malcolm or my last?
Yeah. When you threw that kick, you kind of noticed his hands were low, and you just kind of went for it, or?
I knew that he was switching to southpaw. He just kept switching his stance and stuff like that, and it's just not even that his hands were low. it's just I don't know. I threw the shot and I was like, if it lands, it lands. But it was calculated. It was calculated, and I cracked them.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing. You'll hear like really advanced strikers talk about it. Like when you hear like Sugar Shane O'Malley talk, or like Conor McGregor, they say it. They kind of talk like you do about it. Like they can't really explain it. It's just something that they saw. Because when you're an advanced striker, you just kind of can read other people and see where they're gonna go.
Yeah, that's like with the boxing, fighting in the Golden Gloves and the Diamond Gloves. It's all point fighting, so it's like it's a boxing match, but the rounds, it's three rounds, 2 minutes, and that goes by quick. So it's like you got to set guys up and you got to learn to read guys quick, otherwise you can get outpointed or So and that's how it is. A lot of the times, if you try to knock someone out, you take your big and you try to knock them out, you're gonna miss. So it's just you got to let it flow.
So Paul,
when did you realize that this was kind of a thing for you? Because fighting is not something that anyone's gonna do. Not everyone wants to get punched in the face for a living. So when did you realize that I don't mind taking a hit and I can give one back?
Yeah, after my first fight, because my first MMA fight, it was pretty time finding fights, and my coach said that this was the last fight of the year. This was back in 2016, probably going to be the last card of the year, and I took it on a week and a half's notice, and I cut 22 pounds, crazy, dude. I was
a week and a half notice.
Yeah, I was in really bad shape, but
that's
dude, it was terrible, man. The last couple of days were the worst nights of my life, but I went in there and I beat him in a minute. A minute and 15 seconds, I beat him. I took him down, ground and pound, submitted him. So once I won that fight, I knew that this was for me. This is what
I on a week's notice. Shit, I hate you, man.
Yeah, it was better.
Right after I beat the shit out of the guy, I knew this was for me.
Choked him out. No, it was me.
So, Jake, I know you got a question, but I just have this question that's been on my mind. I debate this all the time when I'm with my boys, because you said you had Golden Gloves for boxing. We saw the McGregor and the Mayweather fight, which is can MMA cross over to boxing? It's always can boxing cross over to MMA? Which sport is harder in your opinion?
I think MMA is definitely harder, but
yeah.
I don't think a top MMA fighter could beat a boxer. I think when Conor and Floyd fought, I think Floyd was taking it easy on him. Because if you guys kind of watch, he fights conservative, and then the 10th round, technically where you're supposed to be the most tired, he gets this huge burst of energy and knocks him out. But it's the same thing. If Floyd were to go into an MMA ring with Conor, he would get killed. But it's MMA is a little tougher because boxing is one discipline. MMA, it's you got to be pretty good at everything, especially at the top level. Otherwise you're gonna get exposed pretty quick.
You can basically knock a guy out with any part of your body in MMA. I've seen guys with the shoulders right in the ring. I've seen some crazy stuff watching fights like that, especially with Jake when he's got money on the line. We're yelling boom. So
yeah, man.
So, Jake, you had a question, right?
Yeah, so Paul, I always wanted to know this, but obviously, being that you're undefeated, you probably haven't gone through this. So how do MMA fighters, how do they deal with embarrassment? Because, all these fighters, they got, the after party in Vegas, they got everything going on, the promoters, the girl, whatever you want. But what happens, your opponent, when he gets knocked out, if that's you, obviously you haven't dealt with it, but how do MMA fighters deal with embarrassment to the point where, it's nationwide? Everyone's watching.
It's a good question. I mean, I honestly, I think everyone deals with it themselves. I'm going to deal with it differently than you would deal with it or any other fighter would deal with it. But I've lost some big matches in wrestling, and it sucks. It definitely sucks. So it hurts, man. It fucking burns. There's still some wrestling matches in high school that I lost that it sucks. But honestly, a loss isn't the end of the world. It's, if anything, you learn a lot more from your losses than your wins. If you're smoking, if you're beating everyone, you might not be learning lessons because you got away with dipping your head too low or doing something like that. So sometimes losses are good, but I have no plan on losing.
Well, these fights with a little bit more of an edge because, you're 9-0 in your last amateur fights, nine amateur fights. You're going into the ring undefeated. You have lost some big matches as a wrestler, but not as an MMA fighter. Does it change your approach, So some may say when a team's on a 25-game winning streak, they start playing a little different. You know, they start bringing the closer in earlier to try to sacrifice that win streak. Are you thinking differently now that you've been on this, 9-game winning streak? You're training with Diaz, all these people in the gym. Is it changing your mindset of trying to be great, but at the same time not skipping over those steps and not taking where you are for granted?
Yeah, so I just try to keep my mindset the same each fight. I try to approach, like, my training doesn't really change. Like, if I have a fight, I train the same that I do if I don't have a fight. I always do 2 workouts a day. And just training with guys like Cody Garbrandt. I've trained with Marlon Moraes, Timur Valioff. That's one of my good friends. And Frankie. All these guys are like the elite, top guys. And just
Cody is that man.
Yeah, Cody's a beast.
I couldn't even hold that in. I was just thinking in my head. I was like, yo, that's that guy right there.
Yeah, Cody's a fucking beast, man. His last knockout was sick, but
crazy. I mean, that whole card had some interesting fights on there.
Yeah, man. He bounced back, and he was in a hole. He was down 3. He would be on a 3-fight losing streak. But it's just being around those guys. You could talk to them. You could ask questions. Because how I see it, like, Frankie is someone who I've been asking a lot of questions to, because I look up to Frankie. And he's been in my shoes before. He's been 4-0 before, about to go, or on the verge of going to the UFC. So I ask him, and I kind of try to learn through his mistakes, so that I don't have to deal with that. So just asking questions. That's the only way that you learn without losing. For someone that hasn't lost or anything like that, you ask questions. And something that they always instill everyone that I train with, all the UFC and the top guys, they work very, very hard. Even that, they never like chill here. They're always trying to climb the mountain.
Yeah.
So how did you end up getting sorry to cut you off. We keep talking over each other. So how did you end up getting linked with Frankie, Edgar, and all the guys that are giving you advice now? I mean, was it just kind of natural, or did you reach out to them, or?
So my coach, Nick Catone, he's friends with Edgar. He trained with Edgar and all those guys, and they used to come and spar at my gym. It's crazy, man. When I first started, I'd see them spar in the gym. I didn't even really know them. And I worked my way up through the ranks. I started as just a guy who was a wrestler. And then I built up. I had a couple more wins, a couple of fights. Then they started putting me in with Marlon Moraes. Me and Marlon became good friends. Then they started putting me in with Frankie, then Cody. So honestly, I worked my way up in the gym, because you can't just walk into the gym and spar with Frankie Edgar. That's just not. Right. Yeah, it's just not how it works. So they've been keeping an eye on me and watching me and saying, this kid's getting good. He keeps winning. He's doing his thing. And they took notice, and now they've taken me under their wing and trying to teach me all that they can.
So it's kind of like you can't really walk up to these guys and say, hey, can you give me advice? You got to earn it. You got to get their attention, and you got to be winning, and you got to be putting the work in for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like they're nice guys. Frankie's nice, Cody's nice. If you ask them, they would definitely give you advice. But it's more like when you're sparring and stuff like that, like, hey, like, how did you land that right hand? Or, hey, how did you land this? Or how did you, was I doing this wrong or that wrong? Even like Frankie gives me like life advice too, dude. I get like, stressed out a lot about just, you guys know how life is. Sometimes fucking life sucks.
Right.
So especially during the quarantine, I was getting stressed, and he just gives me good advice. He's a good guy to have in my corner as a friend.
Of course. I mean, man, that's crazy, because the average fourth sparring with Cody Garbrandt. So like, what is that? What's that like to you? Was that like a big moment to you? Like wow, I'm kind of making it. Like, I'm young in my career, but I'm still kind of like I'm showing a difference here. So what was that like?
Yeah, it's definitely like a confidence booster. I actually I went out to Team Alpha Male after my 4th amateur fight when Cody was actually the champ, and I stayed there for like 3 weeks, but I didn't get to spar with Cody or anything. I wasn't at that level. So to see where I'm at now, and now I'm going with Cody, and I'm sparring with Cody, and I'm, training with him, and we have good goes together. It's definitely a confidence booster. And it's just like, it's good, because I started with nothing, because when I went out there, I just trained with the regular guys, I wasn't anyone. And now these guys know me. Cody said, hey man, you want to come train out in California? You could stay at my place. So it's crazy. It's crazy, but definitely a big confidence booster going with those guys. I mean, who else is training with world champs? We have Eddie Alvarez in the gym too.
Woo! You got a hungry squad, man. You got a hungry squad.
Dude, I had one time where I sparred Marlon, Cody, Frankie, and Eddie all at one go. Not one go, but like all in the same day. So that's four rounds with basically all UFC champs. I mean, Marlon's the only one that isn't a UFC champ, but
exactly.
he sure was close. So so nobody gets to do that. So it's good.
Yeah, so you said no one gets to do that, Paul. Like, let's say I'm in the street. I know I'm a fighter, but obviously I'm not well connected. How can a regular guy, like you said, you can't go into the gym. You can't just train with Frankie Edgar if you're just some random guy throwing punches. How does a random kid, let's say high school, college, who's going to the gym? I know a lot of my friends, they go to the boxing rink, every single Tuesday, just a little hobby they do. But let's say one of them, they see a talent in themselves. How are you able to elevate your game to the point where you're getting recognized by world-class talent?
You just got to keep training. You don't think about like the end goal or like, oh, I want to be in the UFC or do this or do that. You take it one fight at a time, and it will come. If you're putting in the work, then it'll come. And that's what I say with everything. A lot of people say that they want to be a fighter, but they don't want to put the work in. They want after the fight. That's probably, and the fight's the easy part. After the fight, when you win and stuff like that, that's when you got people texting you. But I'd say that's 5% of what that's the good side. The side that people don't see is the 2 workouts a day. How sore you are throughout the week. How, your body's getting beat up. The sparring rounds, the hard work. So when it comes to that, a lot of people they don't want to train as hard. They just want to be in the glory. So what I would say is just one step at a time, and you got to work hard. You got to work hard to be good at anything and do well in life. So. But this sport is about hard work, and if you don't work hard, it's going to show when you fight.
Hell yeah. You can knock the fuck out.
Yeah, man, there's dire consequences, and I'm not trying to have that happen to me. No way.
I hear you, man. Don't lose a streak like that. But I know you can't. It's hard to really think about right now because we're in COVID right now. We're in these times. But what's the next move for Paul? What's the next move for Capaldo?
So CFFC, that's who I fight for, Cage Fury Fighting Championship. They're planning on having a card August 11th. It's either the 11th, or the 12th. But hopefully everything passes with COVID, and I'm gonna be fighting in there or on that.
Nice.
Card. Yeah. So it's gonna be my first time at 135. I fought my past 3 fights as a pro at 145, and then my last one in November was at 140, and then this one will be at 135.
Now, kind of talk about that. What kind of made you want to go down in weight?
Just because for 145, I'm not like the biggest guy in the weight, and at the time I really didn't care because I said to myself I could beat these guys on technique. I have to be the I was doing, but just seeing how well I do against a lot of the guys that we have come into the gym. UFC guys, and we have guys come from Russia or everywhere, and I've been to Russia myself against the 135. I believe I'll be a world champ at. Some of the guys at 145, man, it's crazy. I normally gain I have one fight. This guy fought this guy LaShawn Alcox, and so in the fight, I weighed the day before, I was 145, and I'd say during the fight, I was probably 151, 152. I didn't gain that much weight back. This guy was jacked. Probably, he at least was like 65, 70. Even my coaches were saying he's fucking big. So, he was big, dude. He was jacked up. So that just made me think, and I did the test cut at 140. I dropped down to 140, and I felt great at 140, so. 35. Unfortunately, UFC doesn't have a 140 division. Maybe they will.
I was going to say that.
I wish, bro. They don't have enough weight classes. They don't.
I know.
So 135, it's going to have to be. And what I'm doing now is I just limit, I do intermittent fasting and kind of shorten my meals up. I'm having salad all the time for dinner. So just that's the weight class I'll be a champ at. I know it.
I mean, hey, that's an exciting division to be in, man. You can never have a bad fight in that division. Everyone is just talented division.
Yeah, man. And there's a lot of guys in the UFC that I watch them, and I know I could beat them. I just need the opportunity. I need this COVID to end, and I need to get back on it. And I know there's like how the rankings are now. There's some of these guys, and I know I could beat them.
Hey, I hear the hunger, brother. I hear you, my man.
Mm-hmm.
So, Paul, for the viewers at home, who are you best compared to, let's say, in the UFC? I know you fight in cage, you're a professional cage fighter, but obviously, if moved up, obviously you could play at the UFC level. Your brother, you're not a no. Who at home can we compare your game to in your fight? I would say mechanics to best in the UFC.
Honestly, I try to do a little bit of everything with everyone. My friend Timur Valiev, I'd say that I try to fight like him. He's a beast. He's like 17-1. He's from Russia. He's not in the UFC yet. He will be soon. But honestly, I try to take little things from everyone. Like I have moves from Frankie. I have moves from Cody. I have moves from just everyone I watch. But if I had to pick one, Timur and Marlon Moraes.
Exactly, man. It's all about who you surround yourself with. It's the same thing with business, same thing with media. I'm going to take little pieces of information from people that are already above me the same way you are with world-class athletes. So, hey, brother, in a matter of time, you're going to
walk-off right hook he got, too. I'm trying to take that with me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, salt it on, and in no time, you a world champion, brother.
Exactly, and I create my own style with doing that because it's each one I'm taking little things from people and I'm creating my own style.
So, Paul, is there anyone in UFC? Obviously, you got your eyes on UFC in the future. Do you have anyone that you'd love to fight? Any famous names that you want to throw out there that you'd love to?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. I haven't really thought of anyone, but seriously, I'm not joking. I would literally fight anyone. I would literally fight anyone in the 135-pound division in the UFC. I do not care. Anyone.
I love it.
Come on. I know you got a dream fight in mind. That bantamweight is deep. Give me a name. Just somebody.
If I had to pick, I mean, I wanted to scrap with Dillashaw. I think that.
Yeah. I would too. I'm a Cody guy, so I feel you.
Yeah, I'm friends with Cody, but just because I think he's a little snake. And
I was gonna say that shit.
Yeah, and not only because McGregor said that. I mean, the guy's just a cheater. He's just a cheater. He's doing EPO. All that garbage. So I'd love to get my hands on that guy, and hopefully I'm in the UFC when he comes back. Because I
hear you, man. I hope to see that because I was a Uriah favorite guy. Mm-hmm. So the whole thing, Dillashaw just don't sit right with me. So if you got a chance to knock him out, please do.
Don't worry, man. I will. I'm not a fan of his.
My man.
So Paul, last question. What would you tell your 15-year-old self, and what advice could you give to those coming up? You know, wanting a chance, like I said, to compete. But more importantly, what would you tell to your 15-year-old self now that you've learned so much, obviously through the process of getting better as a fighter?
I would tell myself just to drill the basics. Drill the basics, win in wrestling and anything. If you have good basics, you're going to be able to. Then you can advance from there. So drill the basics, and for anyone. And also, I would tell myself that the parties and everything else will always be there, you know? Like when you're younger, you don't really think about it. You think, oh, they're having a party. I'm going to skip practice and go to the party to hang out with my friends. You could do that all your life. You know, you can't play sports all your life. That's what I try telling people. So that, and just work hard and have fun. You know, everything's about hard work. And you work hard now when you're younger and you set the foundations and you take little steps towards your goal. Eventually, you know, he's at 15, you start working harder and harder and harder and harder. By the time you're 22, 23, you could be in the UFC or, you know, in my shoes, 9-0. And just, you know, so just that's what it's all about. Hard work, baby, you know.
Hey, only going to get as far as you work. Paul, where can our audience find you on social media?
My Instagram is Paul Capaldo, just my name, Paul, Capaldo. My Twitter is also that too. So those are the two I'm mainly on Instagram, but yeah.
Brother, on the sidelines, we're rooting for you. I know my man Weathers is a huge MMA, UFC guy, so he'll definitely be in your corner. We'll be watching you, and we wish you the best, brother.
Hell yeah, awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
Much love.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, man. I'm rooting for you, my guy.
Thank you, man.
Bro. Oh, yeah, if you guys follow me too, I'll follow you back.
Oh, you know I got you. Say less.
Hell yeah. See you guys.
Episode of the SmackTalk podcast. I am JR Sports Media, and it's just like